Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yes, it is a Friday. Woo! The last day of the month. I know you are all good. You are all happy. I hope everyone is okay, that you all had a good night rest and you also had some wonderful dreams which really had you smiling the whole morning. Those kind of dreams which you would really wish that you could have recorded them with your pillow. Those dreams which will make you wish that your pillow was able to record them. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. I welcome you to today's lesson. I hope everyone is good, is happy, that you've already had your breakfast or you have your coffee, your hot chocolate, your tea in hand. Thank you so much for joining us. It's 8 p.m. It is time for English Home Language for grade 8. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let us see who is with us today. If you are there, write hi in the chat so we can see who is with us today. So I can recognize you all who are here with us today. All right, okay, thank you so much for joining us. I see a lot of highs in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Today is going to be a good lesson, I promise you. Thank you so much, thank you. So today will be our first lesson on tenses. Yes, it will be our first lesson on tenses. All right, so in today's lesson, we will be learning about the simple present tense as well as the simple past tense. Okay, so this is where tenses start, that if you could be able to know and understand how the simple present tense and the simple past tense work, then you'll be able to understand the other verb tenses that which we will go through in other lessons later on. Yes, and today's lesson, it also merges, it is also related with our previous lesson we had on finite verbs. Okay, so anyways, okay, it's fine. We will revise that just a little bit. I will bring you up to speed about that. So in the previous lesson, remember what we learned? We learned about the text features. You know that a text has titles, headings, captions, and illustrations. And we also learned about the parts of a book, and we also learned about where to locate them in a book. Things such as the titles page, the table of contents, the chapters, the glossary, the index, the appendix, as well as the footnotes. Okay, so I'm glad that we all know where to find all these features in a book, and you also know how to use them. Okay, so in today's lesson, we will be going through the overview of what tenses are, and then we will put our focus on simple present tense, simple past tense, and then at the end, we are going to have an activity. All right. So who can read the introduction for us? You can raise your hand and read the introduction for us. Okay, we have Lesedi hand up. Good morning,
Hello,
Lesedi.
sir.
How are you? How are you?
I'm fine, and you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for raising your hand. Can you please read the introduction for us?
Yes, sir. The tense of a verb is the form of the verb that tells us about whether something happens in the past, present, or future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lesedi. Thank you. So yes, that is what we need to know. That is the most foundational thing of today's lesson, that the tense of a verb, it really tells us something about an event. Is it something which happened in the past? Is it something which happens in the present, or is it something which will happen in the future? So yes, that is very, very important for us to recognize, to know, and to understand. Okay, knowledge is power. Yeah, that is, yes, you realize that if you know and understand things, you really are empowered. Okay, so there are 9 types of tenses. Okay, there they are. Let me just go through them quickly, briefly. But in today's lesson, we will be focused on simple past tense as well as the simple present tense. That will be our focus for today's lesson. Okay, number 1, a simple past tense. This one, it indicates to us about something which has already happened. Okay. Number 2, past continuous tense. It tells us about something which has happened during an action. Okay, yes, but it is okay. We are not there today. So even if you do not understand it at the moment, it's okay, it's fine. We will go through them at a later lesson. We also have the past perfect tense, which tells us about something which had already happened before a past event. Then we have the simple present tense, which tells us about something which happens regularly or usually. The present continuous tense, which tells us about doing something at the moment or something which is done at the moment and it continues to happen. Then number 6, the present perfect tense, it tells us about something which has happened in the time up until now. Okay, number 7, the simple future tense, it tells us about something which has not yet happened, but it will happen. And the future continuous tense, it tells us about something which will happen in the future. And the future perfect tense, it tells us about something which happens in the future before a second thing happens. Okay, so it is okay, it's fine if you do not get that. That was just an introduction, but today we are only focused on the simple past tense as well as the simple present tense, because those are the most foundational. Those are the most foundational before you get to understand the others. Okay, so we are taking baby steps. We are starting at the beginning. We are starting at the bottom. Yes, so if there is something that which you need to know is that a simple tense is the basic form of the tense. Okay, so it means that every other type of a tense, it builds up on the simple tense. Okay, so here's an example there, I eat. Okay, so that one is in the simple present tense. In the simple past tense, it could have been I ate. Okay, so that is the most basic form of a tense. Then you should also remember that simple tenses do not need an auxiliary verb to form the tense. Okay, you see that even here in my example, I sleep. Okay, there is no auxiliary verb there. We do not need it. Okay, because if you insert it, then it will not be a simple tense anymore. And the second example, I said I slept, which is a simple past tense. Okay, yes, but even though we do not need an auxiliary verb to form the tense, sometimes our tense will be formed by an auxiliary verb instead of an action verb. Okay, so do you all remember what are auxiliary verbs? Do we all remember what are auxiliary verbs? If you do not know or you do not remember what is an auxiliary verb, please write a question mark in the chat. You can write a question mark in the chat so that we can see whether I need to explain it or not. Anyway, an auxiliary verb, it is that verb which really helps to regulate the tense of a sentence. Okay, examples of auxiliary verbs we have is, are, would, should, could. All those are auxiliary verbs. Okay, so now we can move on. These are the most basic things that we should need to know and understand. Okay, so now we are going to start with the simple present tense. I'm looking for someone to read the first statement for us. I'm looking for someone to read the first statement for us. Okay, we have Helene's hand up.
Hello, sir.
Yes, how are you?
Um, Simple present tense. A simple present tense tells us about something which happens usually or on a regular basis. For example, I brush my teeth every day.
Yes, thank you, Helene. Thank you so much. So
Thanks, sir.
that is the thing about the simple present tense. That from a simple present tense, we learn about something which happens usually. Okay. We also learn about something which happens regularly. Okay, so there's an example there. I said I brush my teeth every day. Okay, we know that as long as there is a day, you are going to brush your teeth. Okay, so I brush my teeth every day. This shows that this is something which happens regularly. This is something which happens usually. You know, it is a usual thing for me to brush my teeth. Okay, so that is how it is, and that is how it is. That is how it works. All right, so that is what is communicated by the simple present tense. Okay, I brush my teeth every day. So you realize that the verb in a simple present tense, the verb is in its own stem form. The verb is in present tense. The verb here is the word brush. Okay, so there is the word brush there, and you will realize that there is no auxiliary verb in this sentence. Okay, so it is only the action verb brush. Then let's continue. A simple present tense also indicates what is happening now. Okay, there's an example, a very easy example. I present an English lesson. Okay, so that is a simple present tense. Okay, I present an English lesson. So you realize that the word present. So you realize that my action verb is present and it is in the present tense, and there is no auxiliary verb to really help to regulate the sentence because the present here, it does regulate it. Is there any question there? Is there any question so far about the simple present tense? Okay, now let's move on. We are still on simple present tense. So a simple present tense is used to talk about something that is always true. Okay, can you give us examples of something which is always true? You can write the example on the chat, or you can raise your hand and I'll give you a chance to speak your example. So let me go through my examples first. The first one is flashy cars are expensive. Okay, yes, flashy cars are expensive. So that is a simple present tense. Okay, so you realize here that in my first example, we do not have an action verb. Okay, what we have instead is an auxiliary verb. Okay, so one thing you need to remember about simple tenses, whether it's simple present tense or simple past tense or simple future tense, then you should know that if we use an auxiliary verb as our verb, then we will not be using our action verb. Okay, and again, if we use our action verb, then there will not be any space for an auxiliary verb. Okay, so it's either one or the other, but never both in a simple tense. Okay, so in my first example here, flashy cars are expensive. So here my verb is the word are, And are is not an action verb. Are is an auxiliary verb, and it becomes my verb in this sentence. And since it is also in present tense, okay. And a question for you, is a singular verb or a plural verb? Is it a verb in a singular form or is it a verb in a plural form? Is there anyone to raise a hand and answer that question for us? We know that are is an auxiliary verb. So the question is are an auxiliary verb in a singular form or is are an auxiliary verb in a plural form? Someone, anyone? You can try, it's okay, you can try. If you are correct in your answer, that is good. Even if you are not correct in your answer, that is also good, because that will be an opportunity for you to learn from your mistakes. Anyone to raise a hand? Anyone to raise a hand before I unmute you? Anyone, please try. You do not have to get it right. Please try. Remember, we are here not because we know everything, but we are here to learn. So let us learn. It's time to learn. Anyone? Anyone to answer our question? Okay, so let us look at the first example again. Flashy cars are expensive. So if we remember our lesson on subject-verb agreement, then there is something that we should remember. We remember that the verb must be in the same agreement with the subject. That if the subject is in plural form, then the verb must also be in plural form. If the subject is in a singular form, then even the verb must be in the singular form. Okay, then when we go to the first example, flashy cars are expensive. So from here we realize that this is cars. Cars is the plural form of the word car. Therefore, cars is in plural form. Because of that, even our verb has to be in a plural form. Therefore, that is why here we have are. So flashy cars are expensive. So if this sentence was if it was flashy car, then the sentence will be a flashy car is expensive, because car is in singular form, even the verb must also be in singular form. So flashy cars are expensive is in plural form, therefore even our verb must be in plural form. So since it is a simple present tense, then our auxiliary verb is in the present tense. It is in the present tense because this is a simple present tense sentence. And again, it is in a plural form because our subject here, which is cars, it is in plural form. Therefore, flashy cars are expensive is a simple present tense. And this is something which is always true. Even in the next year, any car which is flashy would be expensive. and even next year you'll still say the same thing, that flashy cars are expensive. So therefore, a simple present tense, we use it to talk about something that is always true. Yes. Yes, for example, Lerato is a girl. That is a simple present tense because that is always true. Lerato is female. Even after the next, even if Lerato now is 16 years old, after 50 years, she will be 66, she will still be a female. Okay, she will be an old woman at that time, um, with their pensions, but she will still be a female. So that is something which is still true, that even after 50 years from now, we can still say Lerato is female. Yes. Then the second example, we see the moonlight at night. Yes, that is also true. Although right now you can go outside, you can still see the moon, but then you realize that at the moment, even though you can still see the moon, but you cannot see the light of the moon. Okay, I do not know if you know this so far from your natural science, but then from natural science we learn that unlike the sun, the moon does not have its own light. So the reason why we see the light of the moon at night, it is when the light of the sun gets reflected on the moon. That is why we see the moonlight at night. But then now we do not, but now where you are, but now in South Africa, it is still the morning, therefore we do not see the light of the moon. But somewhere else, it is the night as you speak right now, therefore they will be seeing the light of the moon because it is at night to them. Therefore, this is something which is always true, and it is indicated and it is communicated by a simple present tense. We see the moonlight at night. Okay, so therefore this is a simple present tense. What makes it simple present tense? The fact that the word see, it is an action verb in the present tense, and because the subject there, we, is in plural, therefore our verb becomes in plural, it becomes see. Okay, so if the subject there was not we, it was I, for example, then it will be okay, if the subject there was she or he or a singular, then it will be he sees the moonlight at night, she sees the moonlight at night, Lesedi sees the moonlight at night, Musa sees the moonlight at night, Nkanka sees the moonlight at night, Lisen sees the moonlight at night, Preston sees the moonlight at night. So you realize that, okay, every sentence you need to remember the subject verb agreement all the time, and you also need to remember the finite verbs. Okay, so first things to remember is that if the subject is in a singular form, then the verb should also be in singular form. If the subject is in a plural form, even the verb should be in a plural form. Okay, so this is the simple present tense. Is there any question about that? Remember, if you have any questions about this, you can simply raise your hand in the chat. You can simply raise your hand in the chat, or you can type in the chat. Okay, yes, if you have a question or if you have an example to add to my examples. Okay, now that we are done with the simple present tense, we can move on to the simple past tense. Okay, now we are on the simple past tense. Can someone read for us the first statement there? Someone, anyone? Okay, so we have Lesedi's hand up to read for us.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you please read for us the first?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
A simple past tense is used to talk about something that has already happened. For
Mhm.
example, I brushed my teeth this morning.
Yes, thank you, Lesedi. Thank you so much. So that is what a simple past tense does. It lets us know about something that has already happened. Okay, there's an example. I brushed my teeth this morning. So that is something which happened. That is something that which I have done. Okay, and another thing about a simple past tense is that it also indicates what has happened in the past, but is not happening at the moment. Okay, I can still use the same example. I brushed my teeth this morning. Okay, although even right now it is still the morning, but I am not brushing my teeth. Okay, so the event that which I did, it was brushing my teeth. I brushed my teeth this morning, and that was it. Okay, so it is not continuing. It is not happening again at the moment as we speak. I just brushed my teeth this morning when I brushed them, and that's it. Okay, and okay, after this lesson ends, I will say I presented an English lesson. Okay, so this will be something I would have done, but I will not be doing it. Okay, so by the time when my time for this lesson would be over, I would say I presented an English lesson. I presented an English lesson, and that will be it. I presented an English lesson. Okay, so here I will be talking about something which has happened in the past, or something that which I have done in the past, but I am not doing at the moment. Okay, so that is the simple past tense. Okay, so that is the simple past tense. It is something that which was done at a particular moment in the past, and that's it. Okay, so that is simple past tense. Then a simple past tense is used to talk about something that was previously true. Okay, so also talk about something that was previously true. Okay, there are some things which were true yesterday, but they are not true today. Okay, for example, yesterday was Thursday. That is a simple present tense. Why? Because today is Friday. Okay, so today is Friday, it is a simple present tense. Yesterday was Thursday is a simple past tense. You see that? So we use a simple past tense to talk about something which was previously true, but at the moment it is not true. Okay. We know that yesterday was Thursday. Yesterday was Thursday. We know that. Okay. Why? Yesterday was Thursday. That is true. But today is not Thursday. Today is Friday. Okay. So therefore, yesterday was Thursday becomes becomes our simple past tense. All right, there is another. What is another example of something which was previously true but is not true anymore? Please give me such examples in the chat. Okay, one example I can give here is feature phones were expensive. Okay, I do not know. I do not know if you know the feature phones which were expensive. You know, I mean, you can go to Google. You can Google Nokia 5110, Nokia 3310. Those were the feature phones at the time, and they were so expensive. Okay, they were so expensive. You know, imagine for 2,000 rands. Okay, at the moment for 2,000 rands you can get you can get a smartphone with a 5.5 inch screen which has a double camera, you know, which has a battery which can last you the whole day, which is a touch screen, and you can listen to music on it, you can take pictures and stuff like that. Okay, but not but some years ago, like, okay, something like 15 to 20 years ago, with 2,000 you could get a feature phone. You see those phones that now you buy for 150, for 200. During that time you can get the phone with those features for 2,000. Okay, those those phones with the ringtones. There were no mp3 ringtones during that time. The ringtones were called polyphonic ringtones, you know, sounding something like. So that was how the ringtones were sounding like. The screens were small. The screens were not even color screens. Okay, it will just be a black and white screen. The keys were alphanumeric. There were no touch screens at that time. We didn't even dream that maybe we could use a touch screen to write anything, to dial anything. The phones were also bulky, they were heavy, they were big, you know. If you drop it, you will be very, very, very nervous. You will think that if you could drop it, even though the phone was strong and it will not break, but then you will be concerned that maybe if you could drop the phone, it could crack the flooring, you know, it could crack the tiles on the floor, it could really crack something on the floor. Okay, so yeah, those were the feature phones that time. So during those times, feature phones were expensive. Okay, for 2000 you could get that phone, but then now if those phones were still here, now they could sell for something like 150 or 200 rands. Okay, so yes, so feature phones were expensive. This is a simple past tense example which indicates to us something which was true previously but now is not. And then example number 2, they believed that the world was flat. Okay, yes, but now we know that the world is not flat because, okay, somewhere in this 15th 16th century, people believed that the earth was flat. Okay, because if it happens that you could read the literature during that time, when people were talking about the earth, when people were talking about the world, they were saying, okay, if if someone wanted to talk about something about the whole world or about the whole of planet earth, they will say the four corners of the earth. Why? The four corners of the earth. Remember, what shape has four corners? A shape which has four corners is a rectangle or a square, a rhombus, a kite. So all these quadrilaterals, they have four corners. Okay, so therefore, one thing that which you can remember from your math about quadrilaterals is that quadrilaterals are flat. Quadrilaterals are 2D shapes, okay? And remember, 2D shapes are flat. They only have a length and a width, okay? 2D shapes are flat. They only have a length and a width. Please bear with me. I know this is not a math lesson, but please bear with me for the sake of this example. So yes, in the past, people believed that the world was flat. That is why when a person was talking about, when people during that time were talking about the whole earth, they will say the four corners of the world because they believed that the world was flat. Okay, but then it really took the scientist Galileo Galilei to discover that no, the world really is not flat. That instead the world is like a ball. Okay, the world is like a ball, although that ball is flat at the top and also at the bottom. Okay, so yes, that is what they said. They said that the world is like that. The world is like a ball, and it is flat on the bottom and also at the top. So then they will say that the earth rotates about its axis around the sun. So yes, so during those times they believed that the world was flat. Okay, so but then after Galileo Galilei discovered that the world really is not flat, then even other scientists after him, they did discover that yes, Galileo Galilei is really correct. The world really is not flat, but it is round. Okay, so therefore people in the past, they believed that the world was flat. So this is a simple past tense and it communicates something that which was believed to be true previously, but right now it is not. Okay, so right now, if you could, in your natural science, if you could write that the world is flat, I'm telling you, for that question, you will get it wrong. You'll get 0 marks for that question because now we know that the world is not flat. Okay, we know that the world is round. It is like a ball. And I know that there are some of you have the models of the world in your rooms. Yes. Then we have an example from Helene in the chat. Thank you so much, Helene, for your example. Helene says he usually loved to watch stars when he was a child. Okay, yes, yes. So from there, what do we get? We get the fact that he usually loved to watch stars when he was a child. Okay, so that is something which was true. Why? Because right now this person is not a child anymore. Right now this person is an adult. Therefore, because he's an adult, you know, as you grow up, even your interests change. Okay, the things that which interested you as a child they will not interest you anymore. Perhaps maybe right now your favorite show is those cartoons on TV. It's PJ Masks, it's SpongeBob SquarePants, whatever show that which you like on TV. Maybe it's animation. SpongeBob SquarePants, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, PJ Masks, Teen Titans Go, whatever it may be. Okay, but then chances are in the next 10 years you will not be wanting to watch that. In the next 10 years you would be fighting with your kids over the TV remote. They will be wanting to watch SpongeBob SquarePants or whatever animation or whatever cartoons which will be playing on TV at that time, and you will be wanting to watch football. You will be wanting to watch that series about people, about real people, not an animated series. You see? So yes, from there, thank you so much, Helene, for your example. So from that example, your example, Helene, it communicates something which was previously true. When he was a child, he used to watch the stars. Okay, now that he's not a child, he's grown up. He likes to watch soccer, he likes to watch series. He does not like to watch stars anymore because he's grown up and the interest has changed. Therefore, the activity of watching stars is something which was true previously, but now it's not. Okay, so that is what a simple past tense does. It communicates to us something which was previously true, but now it's no longer true. Okay, for example, I can say, I was 10 years old some years ago. Okay, so that is not true. That is something which was previously true. Some years ago, yes, I was 10 years old, but now I'm not 10 years old anymore. See, yes. Thank you so much, Helene, for your example. So now it's time for our class activity. Yes, and for this activity, may you please raise your hand and speak to us so that if you are wrong, I will be able to correct you right there as you speak. Okay, so if it happens that perhaps your mic is not working, you can type in the chat, but please raise your hand and speak to us. You would realize that when you speak your answers, you will be able, even you yourself, you will be able to know whether your answer is correct or not. Because when you speak it, you'll be using different senses. Okay, when you speak, you'll be using the sense of hearing, and you're also using your speech. Okay, so therefore from there you'll be able to know whether what you're saying, whether it makes sense, whether it could be correct or not. So that is the thing that which I love about speaking. You can really get to correct yourself. You really can get to that point where you know where you are right or wrong. Okay, yes. So class activity number 1. So in class activity number 1, you are given different 5 sentences and you are required to write the following sentences in simple present tense. Okay, write the following sentences in simple present tense. Number 1, the girl was looking for her doll. The girl was looking for her doll. What is the answer for that? Okay, let's see, send this up.
Sir?
Yes, Lesedi, what is the answer?
So the answer is the girl is looking for her doll.
You say the answer is the girl is looking for her doll?
Yes,
unfortunately, that is not the correct answer. Okay, let me tell you why. If you say the girl is looking for her doll, okay, what makes it incorrect is the fact that this looking, okay? So is looking, remember what I said when I started? I did say that in a simple present tense, you cannot have an auxiliary verb and an action verb. It is either you have an auxiliary verb alone or an action verb alone, okay? So here, if you say the girl is looking for her doll, is an auxiliary verb, looking is also an action verb, okay? So you have 2 verbs in the same sentence. And for a simple present tense, it cannot be so. It's either you have an auxiliary verb alone or an action verb alone, okay? And the fact that the verb looking, that is a continuous tense. Okay, it is a simple continuous tense. It is not a simple present tense. Okay, so here I'm looking for this sentence to become a simple present tense. Okay, thank you so much for trying this. Or you want to try again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can try again.
The girl looks for her doll.
Thank you so much. Now that is correct. The girl looks for her doll. Okay, why? The girl looks for her doll by saying that you are communicating something which is happening right now. Okay, the girl looks for her doll. Yes. So yes, that is correct. The girl looks for her doll. That is correct. Remember, the girl is only one. Okay, so is only one is singular form. Therefore, even the verb looks is singular. Therefore, the correct answer there is the girl looks for her doll. Thank you for trying, Lesedi. Thank you so much. The girl looks for her doll is correct. Thank you. Number two, when the bell rang, most of the learners were running towards the cafeteria. What is the answer there? When the bell rang, most of the learners were running towards the cafeteria. Okay, we have Natalie in the chat saying, when the bell rings, most of the learners run to the cafeteria. Yes, Natalie, that is correct. When the bell rings, most of the learners run towards the cafeteria. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Natalie. That is correct. Number three, my favorite singer has released an album today. What is the correct answer in simple present tense? My favorite singer has released an album today. Okay, Lesedi, send this up. You can never bring Lesedi down. You can never bring Lesedi down. Yes, number three, what's the answer?
So the answer is my favorite singer releases an album today.
Thank you so much, Lesedi. Thank you so much. That is correct. My favorite singer releases an album today. Number four, the ring on my mother's finger was worth 20,000 rands. What is the answer there? Nkranka, send this up. Yes,
Okay.
Nkranka.
So the answer is the ring on my mother's finger is worth 20,000.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nkanka. That is correct. The ring on my mother's finger is worth 20,000 rands. Number five, she was crying when she thought about the money. What is the answer there? She was crying when she thought about the money. Remember simple present tense, simple present tense. We want it to be in simple present tense. Okay, Helene, send this up. Yes, Helene, what is the answer?
Yes, she she cries when she thinks about the money.
That's correct. Yes, that's
Thank you,
correct,
sir.
Helene. That is correct. She cries when she thinks about the money. That is correct. So thank you so much. We are done with activity one. When we are rewriting these sentences into simple present tense. Now we are going to activity two, where we need to write the following sentences in simple past tense. Number one, I eat cereal and drink coffee for breakfast. What is the answer in simple past tense? I eat cereal and drink coffee for breakfast. All right, let's say this back again. What is the answer?
The answer is I ate cereal and drank coffee for breakfast.
That's correct, Lisiri. That is correct. That's good. That's correct. I ate cereal and drank coffee for breakfast. Okay. Number two, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. Okay, Natalie, thank you so much. What is the answer for number two?
I wanted to be a doctor when I grow up.
I wanted to be a doctor when I grew up. Yes, that is correct. So that grow doesn't change, okay? The reason is because if you could remember our lesson on noun clauses, when I grow up becomes my, when I grow up becomes my clause, okay? So we do not change it there. The answer is, I wanted to be a doctor when I grew up. Thank you, Natalie, that's correct. Number 3, I use a pair of scissors to cut the pictures for my collage. Okay, let's see this, end this up. What's the answer?
The answer is I used a pair of scissors to cut the pictures for my collage.
Thank you so much. That's correct. I used a pair of scissors to cut the pictures for my collage. Number 4, he is digging up a hand grenade. What's the answer for number 4? Okay, Natalie will answer it for us. And number 5, I will give it to Amogelang. Yes, Natalie, number 4?
He was digging up a hand grenade.
Unfortunately, the answer is no. Unfortunately, that is incorrect. Remember, this is simple present tense, okay? So in simple past tense, sorry. So remember, I said it's either you have the auxiliary verb or the action verb. Never have both of them in the sentence. Can you try? You like to try again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, try again.
He digged up a hand grenade.
Okay, the past tense for dig is dug. Okay, so try again.
He dug up a hand grenade.
Yes, that's correct. He dug up a hand grenade. Okay, that is correct. Number 5, she is the most beautiful girl in our class. Okay, I'll give this one to Amogelang. Yes, Amogelang.
She was the most beautiful girl in the class.
Thank you so much. That is correct. Thank you so much. So anyway, this is the end of our lesson and we are also out of time. So remember, a simple present tense, it tells us about something which happens usually or on a regular basis. And a simple past tense tells us about something that has already happened. Okay, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so glad you understood everything we did. This is the end of our lesson. Thank you so much. May you all have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. From all of us here at STEM Digital School, we love you. Goodbye, take care. Remember to stay home and stay safe. Bye-bye.